Hello, all. I hope you've had a good July 4th. I worked a happy 6 hours in my corporate America. Woohoo! Time and a half, you gotta do what you gotta do. We don't want that silver spoon. We do not want to be lazy. We don't want to be lazy. We definitely don't want to be labeled lazy. Heaven forbid. It's like, what do you classify lazy? What is it that you classify lazy? That's what I'd like to know. Truth be told. Truth be told, you meet me there and then we can go from there. Straight up. Straight up is the way I see it. Y'all are too busy covering up some nasty crap. Nasty crap. And then you want to label me crazy or label us crazy? No. Circle back. Circle back. No siree. Not my house. No. We don't have time for that. Nope. Today marks 250 years, and it will be another 102, there will be another 250. Obviously. Like, people don't live forever. They surely don't. Their power and their control dies with them, too. Maybe one day they'll wake up to it. Their name being posted everywhere, too, ain't gonna fix that. I can assure you of that. As soon as you're gone, bro, man. Anyways, tame the beast. I hear you. So, I just saw a video where Charlie Kirk was talking about I think he said paganism and unclean spirits. Yeah, you don't play with those. You don't play with those. No. Not muffler, though. And then when you wake up to the fact that you've been surrounded by a substantial amount of people with unclean spirits, you go through like a brutal awakening. You do. I'm sure Candace can vouch for that. Like, you do. You do. Like, I work today with my girlfriend, and it's like, I love our conversations because it just helps me unpack so much sometimes. Because we were talking about my previous friendships and how I just see now. I just see so clearly the people that I was surrounded with, how much they just siphoned from my energy and like to keep me beneath them. So they would continually fixate and manipulate conversations. So I stayed in a negative headspace, or I stayed going back to horrific situations that were not becoming, nor did they elevate me and hold me accountable in the areas that I should have been held accountable. But instead, they threw silent daggers, but in a manipulative way. And I'm sure a lot of people could probably resonate with this, And it's so hard to see between the lines when you carry a empathetic heart. You don't want to imagine that of people. You don't want to imagine that people are placed in your life to just play a fake role. You don't want to imagine that you've been placed in this beautiful thing called life in a silent Truman Show. I mean, who wants to imagine that? I mean, really. So people can steal and siphon and keep you small and create propaganda and narrations and provide you two crappy choices and then chastise you for making choice A and B when they put you in a scenario where both choices are crappy. And then they sit back in their ivory house like they're angels walking among us. No. And it's just unfortunate, but we see it so evidently right now. Golly. I'll tell you the most unbecoming thing that I see, quite frankly. And let me preface this. When I talk about the veterans, the fallen soldiers, and I talk about the disabled veterans, all that, I live in a very prominent military community. So I'm surrounded by them. But do I see the brotherhood code that they carry, the cars they drive, how they act on the road, how they treat people when they are in public, and what they choose to spend their money on? as they're living retired life. Rightfully so. But my question is, while you're living retired life, are you happy? Because based off what I see, it doesn't seem as though you are. It seems as though there's things within your past that creep up into your consciousness, and then you go into the world and you pour out crap. You pour out judgment. You put yourself in an ivory tower and think we're all supposed to bend to you because you fought for us and you did this and you did that. Okay, as we've all gravitated, what actually have we been fighting for? Do we even know that answer? In a lot of different ways with a lot of these different wars. I mean, look at 9/11 and the unveiling of that. I mean, truly. And so it's just one of those things. It's like you want mercy, you want grace on your end. But you also, when you ask for that, you have to be, you have to reciprocate that. So you have to give that. When you want mercy and you want grace, baby, you've got to pour that out as well. And so often enough, it's like people want it, but they do not want to provide it. They do not want to provide it. And then you have to ask yourself why. Especially if you slap religion into it. You slap church going, you slap whatever, you can't throw stones and not expect stones to get thrown back at you. I mean, you just can't. It's the duality in reality and what God graced us here on earth. Because there is a higher power. And you don't carry that power, and I don't carry that power. So since we've gravitated to recognizing that there is a higher power and nor you nor me carry it, who controls it? Not anyone. And so when you start dancing on the side where you think you have the ability to control realities that were not designed to be controlled just because you want to stay in power and greed and abundance and wealth and this and that, to think that there's not going to be a point in time while you're here on earth where it's going to slap back around. It would just be ignorant. Truly. I mean, and again, I know I say things that fluff for a lot of people. Believe me, everything I say I've had to walk through. I recognize that within myself. I recognize everything that I walked through, because I placed myself there. I kept allowing the same things to transpire in my life. I was broken and unhealed, and I didn't carry a true relationship with who I was and who God was and who the divine was, although he was in my life my entire life. Clearly. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had so many handlers, obviously. And so it's one of those things. I recognize that. I mean, the truth is within the truth. The facts are within the facts. They're, of course, going to create everything that they are right now to keep it hidden. But it's impossible to keep something hidden that God ordains. That's why people shouldn't be on that side of the fence. You're on the wrong side. When people are being hurt, people are being siphoned from, people are working their butts off to never get ahead because you think that they deserve that. And then you're gonna get behind a podium and tell them that they've been given a silver spoon when you know that's not true. Although deep within your head, you think it is because of the people that you surround yourself with. And that's why it's the us versus them. There is that presence is here. Very much so. But it's like, unfortunately, God is unveiling those that walk with a consciousness and those that truly don't. And those that create images as if they are walking with a conscience. When behind closed doors, that's not the case. And it's hard to wake up to those things. Believe me, I know. But the conversation I had today with my girlfriend in reference to like all my girlfriend friendships, I'm like, wow. I was so oblivious to things that were right in front of my face. Literally. Right in front of my face. So oblivious to it. I was 100% oblivious. And I give them that. But I thank them too. Because